Welcome back, everybody. I am Karex, and we are continuing on this beginner tutorial of Europa Universalis 4 with all DLCs. We are playing with all the DLCs right now. And we are in our first war against Kandar. We have a mission to conquer this land. We also got free claims, free causes for war. We got a free justification for war against these guys. So we decided just to pounce on them quickly. We're still working on trying to get a justification for war against Byzantium. We're still working on this. Like, we need to get up to, it says 20, right? If we hover over this fabricate claim, or if I go to their diplomacy and I say fabricate claim, it says we need 20. We're at 15 right now. That diplomat is doing their job, but it's taking a little bit, right? We're getting about 2 per month, but it's still taking a few years for that to get done. We cannot reach Crimea right now without using transports, but we don't rule the seas right now. The enemy is actually ruling the seas, which is kind of scary to think about. We could, speaking of which, we could actually try to build some more galleys to try to bolster the navy, since clearly we're going to need that, since our navy is not nearly what it should be. So we could build some more galleys. We could build some more galleys. You know, the funny thing is, because we've wiped out, actually, you know, a really interesting thing is we could do something a little bit risky. We could do something a little bit risky. We could actually reduce our fort maintenance, because the enemy, Kandar's army has been wiped out. Ramazan's army has been wiped out. The only army left is the Crimeans, but they can't actually physically reach us. They are actually blocked right now by other nations, disallowing them to move through their country. So we could do something a little bit gutsy, and we could actually just mothball the forts and save a bunch of money that way. It does give us a warning. Your forts are mothballed while your country is at war. Yes, that's fine. This says that our country is at war. Yes, we know that. It says our ports are being blockaded. That's kind of a bummer. A lot of our ports are like, they're doing a full blockade on us, basically, which is not good. That's creating war exhaustion. That's hampering our trade. That's doing all kinds of bad things for us right now. That's not good. We have too many diplomatic relations. Oh yeah, that's right. We ended up asking for military access here. We don't need it anymore. We've already moved on to the province we want. Let's remove military access through these guys. So let's use a diplomat. We got to call this guy back from QQ really quick. So 50 days we'll be able to actually remove the military access here, and we won't be taking a penalty, right? We have too many diplomatic relations. It's costing us diplomatic power. We don't want to spend diplomatic power on this. We don't want to spend diplomatic power on this. Come on, cancel, cancel. Waiting a couple days for the diplomat to come back home. There you go. Oof, cancel. 7 more days, we can send him back. Actually, August 18th, we can send him back. What we could do is we could actually go speed 3 here, guys. We're going speed 3. Buckle up. Buckle up. Because for the most part, everything is static here. We're at war, but we have incapacitated our enemies here. QQ. Oh! The alliance broke? They broke the alliance with us. QQ actually, like, voluntarily broke the alliance with us. Holy cow. Well, that could open up for Poland. That could open up for Poland. We might be able to get something happening there. It's hard to say. Okay, we're on speed 3 because we're sieging. It takes years sometimes for these sieges to fall. We have 20 spy network with Byzantium. We can click on Constantinople and click fabricate claim. Although if we went in through the diplomacy, we would see that there's a number of provinces here that we could put a claim on. They have Byzantium has land over here. We're gonna get free claims on that eventually, though. Let's actually do Constantinople for now, because once we take Constantinople, we'll be able to go in and take all this with our free claims. Now, we don't technically need to keep building up a spy network on Byzantium, but we could just get another claim to take a little bit more war from them, or more land from them when we go to war, before we get the free claims. We could be a little greedy there and just leave that. I don't know what else we need to do with our diplomat, to be honest, so maybe we'll keep doing that. Right now we're kind of winning this war, but it's pretty static right now. What would be kind of nice is if we found another opportunity maybe to sneak attack the navies here. But they have 13,000, not 13,000, sorry, they have just 13 ships here. Yeah, they have ships here, they have ships here, they have ships here. We're just getting full on blockaded over here. This is insane. I'm kind of wondering, will these guys actually leave? Okay, what we could do is we could try to see if Ramazan just wants to go out of the war, because they're getting sieged, right? They might not be feeling too good about this. In fact, if I go to here, I can see their war enthusiasm is medium. They don't want to be in this war anymore. They do not want to be in this war anymore. We maybe actually could potentially get them out of the war. Let's get our diplomat back from QQ. QQ just doesn't like us, unfortunately. We might be able to salvage that long term, but for now they're just upset. And actually, you know what's almost more problematic than the fact that they're upset, which they're not? It's that we're actually more upset with them because they've completely offended us. They've completely offended us, so our opinion of them is actually low, which is kind of annoying because that's not necessarily what we want. So if we go here, what we do is we go to... Sorry, guys. Guys, it's like we're playing... Actually, I promise we're playing freakishly slow, and yet there's still so much stuff, like... It's so easy to take for granted, like when you get into the rhythm of the game, it's just go, go, go. There's just like... It's just insane how, even in a simple war that we're clearly winning decisively, we're still managing the diplomatic system at large. We're still looking for other opportunities. We're still wheeling and dealing. We're preparing for future wars. We're looking ahead. We're doing all kinds of planning and strategizing and stuff like that. This game is crazy. So let's go down here to the war thing. We're still technically at -5 war score, which is not good, right? And part of this is just because we're getting massively blockaded. That's not good. That is giving them a huge war score on us. In fact, I'm surprised that's only -5, basically. We do have the war goal, though, so eventually it will trend back in our favor. If I open this up, this is for select this to create a peace deal. So we could ask for give us the land. We want out of this war. No, they won't do this. They won't do this for a number of reasons, right? Because we haven't sieged their fortification. They have a fort. We can't demand land without even sieging their fort. They don't care if we took this land. It's not even a defended province. They care. They don't care because they have a fortification. They haven't actually lost anything that's meaningful, right? The forts are what's meaningful. They're at 0%, by the way. So we are getting into the positive percentages soon. We're going to be making good progress on this fort soon. So for the most part, right, there's no way they're going to accept this. It's actually -2,000 reasons, right? We don't even have 10 war score. We're at negative war score. They feel like they're winning the war. They feel like they're actually winning the war. All kinds of things, right? But you know who doesn't feel good? That's these guys. This is Kandar. We know they feel good. We know Crimea feels good because Crimea hasn't even, like, Crimea's doing great. They're actually blockading us and just loving life, right? But these guys, Ramazan's not feeling so good, right? We knew they were at medium enthusiasm. They're actually kind of like, they're kind of almost thinking like maybe they kind of want to get out of here, right? There's a length of war modifier. They won't... The thing is, the AI doesn't like to peace out instantly. They like to kind of wait it out and see what happens. So there's a length of war modifier that's basically preventing them. But if it wasn't for length of war, they would actually want out of this war because they don't like the fact that they have occupied and besieged provinces. We are besieging them. We are besieging them right now. But this is okay because once this falls, we're going to be able to free up these troops, and that'll be really good for us. We have our siege general over here too. So what we might want to do is we might want to move that siege general down to here so that this siege will go a little bit faster too. The thing is, if we had our ships over here blockading this, it would go faster. If we had our ships up here, it would go faster. The problem is we just can't. I mean, what we could try to do is we could try to cheap shot them again. But that's 13 ships. They're dogpiling in. They're dogpiling in. Yeah, we're going to lose this again, see? We're going to lose this again. What I'm doing is I'm going to go through this list and just make sure we're not actually going to lose any ships. I'm going to fight until we're about to lose a ship. We are about to lose a ship here. We're about to lose our first ship. We're at least doing damage there. We're basically doing nothing. This is silly. This is silly. Yeah. We're only losing a tiny amount of war score. This doesn't actually really add up. These little naval skirmishes don't really create, like, they didn't even sink a single one of our ships, right? So it makes sense that they didn't really do anything. They didn't really get anything done by winning that little skirmish. It was just a little skirmish. Just a little skirmish. So we can sort of test the waters there. If they ever sort of like thin out, if we actually ambush their six ships, that'd be really, really good, right? But unfortunately, they're just being a little bit too smart here. If we get these guys out of the war, though, their ships will actually not be a part of the war. How many ships do they have? They have 5 plus 4. They're contributing 9 ships. Actually, they're contributing 12 ships. 12 of these ships belong to Ramazan. So if we get Ramazan out of the war, that's going to be a weaker navy that we're going to be dealing with. They won't be able to blockade our forts as much. This is perfect. We have 14% chance to take Ramazan. That's good. We have another event. New trade research is heretical. Uh-oh. You know what? We're just going to lose some prestige. Because diplomatic power is so important, and 50 diplomatic power is a lot, right? We're going to need this potentially to take things in the peace. We're going to need this to work on new technologies. Prestige, here's the reality. If prestige goes up, it goes down. It's trending actually to be about 10. If it actually wants the equilibrium at 10 based on certain modifiers that we have, right? Different modifiers that we have. If we do this, it goes down to 0, which is fine, but it's actually going up now. It's actually equilibrium is to take us up. So we weren't really getting any extra prestige for free. Now we're going to be getting some extra prestige for free. So we lost 10 prestige, but we're getting an equilibrium that's sending us towards 10 again. It doesn't tell us that. It'd actually be really cool if it told you what your equilibrium prestige was, but we could see here that we're gaining 0.4 per year. And this, don't get me wrong, prestige is all kinds of fantastic, right? Lots of really good stuff in there. We're gonna win. We're gonna get prestige for winning this war. We're actually gonna get prestige for winning this war and winning battles and stuff like that. We have sieged Kandar. We have sieged Kandar. Let's look at this. They're at low enthusiasm. They don't want to be in the war. We've completely occupied them. They are wiped out, so to speak. Will they give us their land? Because we have a claim for both of these provinces. We have a claim to wipe them out. No. We're still too low on the war score, right? But we're getting ticking war score. So our war score is going up passively. War score is going up passively. So we might just have to wait more time. So we're still technically below the ask. The ask to take these two provinces is 28 peace offer. It's a 28 war score peace offer, okay? That's if we just, and basically all I'm doing is I'm just clicking on the land I want, right? We have this occupied, I'm clicking on it, I want this. But alternatively, we can go through these different tabs and see the different things. Like we can have them annul, we can have them break their alliance with Crimea. Cost 10. We could have them break their alliance with Crimea. We could have them end rivalries if we cared. We could, that gives us prestige, actually a lot of prestige. We could have them end their rivalry with Theodora. I don't know if there's any point to that really. But you can't take all their land and have them do that, because then, see, we can't do that because Kandar will cease to exist. So obviously the rivalry is going to end if they're going to cease to exist. But we can actually, we can't have them pay war reparations because again, they won't exist. All this stuff doesn't make sense because they won't exist, but we can take their money. They have 45 ducats, we could take that. But this would require getting 56 war score. Right now, they're not willing to do this for a number of different reasons, actually. It's because they have allies in the war. One of the big reasons why is because they just have people, they have allies that are just fighting with them. They know Crimea is there to defend them. We haven't seen, we would need to siege out Crimea in order to make it so that everybody would feel hopeless, right? They don't want to give up. They don't want to literally go away forever. They're willing to stay in this war. As long as their allies are in the war, they're willing to stay in the war, basically, right? There's a negative 141 reasons for them to join. We're going to have to go beat up Crimea. We're going to have to get Crimea out of the war, most likely, in order to deal with this. And how do we deal with Crimea? Well, we have to get military access through here. We have to get up to Crimea. I don't think Lithuania hasn't rivaled us. Oh, I thought they rivaled us at the start of the game. Oh, Lithuania has a personal union with Poland. Lithuania and Poland have joined. Oh, Poland is friendly with us. Are you kidding me? Poland will ally us. Poland will ally us. Poland will ally us. Poland has created the Commonwealth. They haven't formed the Commonwealth, but they have created the personal union with Lithuania. So Poland is now Mazovia and Lithuania plus Poland. Poland is incredibly powerful and they like us. They like us. The problem is they only like us right now, and they will not ally us while we're at war. We need to get out of the war. We can ask for military access through Poland. Let's get these troops over here and let's start to head over like we're going to go beat up Crimea. Let's roll. It's going to be a march. These guys are at 21%, so this should happen soon. We're at speed 3. Things are moving a little bit faster. We are losing money at war. Okay, I'm seeing this negative. There's a little negative symbol here at the ducats, and I'm just very cued into really sort of noticing that. We are losing money. We're doing a little bit of reinforcing, right? Our troops are taking some attrition. We're getting some reinforce issues there. These troops are sort of freed up here. We're also paying for this fortification here. We can actually not pay for this fortification here. We could also pay, well, I guess that's just a capital fort down there. Man, that took a long time to get that capital fort done. So let's actually go into a lot of things that I'm thinking through right now, guys. Just try to be self-aware of what's going on. I'm going to get these guys over here so that we can get ready to invade Crimea after getting the military access through Poland, which will also count as military access through Lithuania. Poland will give us access through Lithuania as well. We will probably also need Moldova to give us military access. I don't see any reason why they won't. Yeah, they will. Because we're at war with their rival. They specifically want us to have military access so we can go and beat up Crimea. They specifically want us to beat up Crimea, which is cool, right? That's thematic because they don't like Crimea. They're a rival to each other. So these guys are sieged out, though. These guys, they don't have armies. They're sieged out. They cannot train troops on this land because we occupy the land. So they can't use this land to make... They're not making any money. They're not able to build any buildings or train any troops or anything like that. They're completely immobilized. We have... These guys are completely... Kandar, Ramazan are completely docile in this state, completely sieged out. If they had provinces over here still, we'd have to go deal with that. But right now, this is their entire country. So Ramazan is at 100%. Ramazan is at 100%. If we go to the peace deal, right? Go here, we're at 49% total war score. We could actually just see, are they willing to take... No, they're still not willing to do this because, again, Crimea is still there. They're not going to accept this because Crimea is still there. Do we have a claim on Ramazan? We do not. We don't actually have a claim on this land. We could still take it. We could still take it, but we would be paying diplomatic points as a penalty. We'd be getting a little bit of extra aggressive expansion because we don't have a good reason to take this land. So proportionally, we'd take more aggressive expansion. We haven't talked about aggressive expansion, but there are some numbers here that we're going to look at before we accept the deal. But I think Ramazan, I just want to get their navy out of the bed. I just want to get their navy gone. I just want to get them gone. I think I'm just going to basically go down here. We could take war reparations. We could have them pay for the trouble that they've caused us. We can have them end their rivalry with Cyprus. And that'll just give us prestige. That's a little bit of prestige farming. We don't really care too much about that. We could have them end their alliance here. Just on the basis of why the heck not? You know what I mean? And we could take all their money, which isn't much because they're a small, poor nation. So we could do this stuff, and we're really just kind of... All we're really doing with this, to be honest, is just milking a little bit of prestige. We're going to get 8 prestige from having them break the alliance here. These guys won't even exist in a second, right? And having them annul their rivalry with Cyprus and stuff. So we're just doing a little bit of prestige farming. That's in the annul treaties tab. You don't have to do that. We could cede provinces, right? We could go and take provinces, but we're just choosing, we'll do that in the future, right? We have a mission to take these provinces and these provinces. We'll take this in a future mission. There will be a future mission to come conquer this area, I suspect. So we'll work on that in the future. Let's send this and let's get those guys out of the war. Booyah! The conquest... Whoa, okay, that's the war that we're fighting, but we didn't piece these guys out. Whoa, that would have been a mistake, right? We did a separate piece. We went to the war tab. Okay, let's get our diplomat back so we can take a look at this again. Just kind of review what we actually did there. We went to the war tab. We clicked on a the party leader is here. These guys are the party leader. They're the war leaders. They're the ones we declared on. Crimea is not a war leader. We can separate piece them separately. It's a sneaky sort of... It's a sneaky thing to do, but it is a way to sort of break apart, you know, the people that you're fighting against, right? And we can see now the blockade is significantly weakened. The blockade is, a lot of these ships are no longer part of the blockade. We might actually be able to sort of just engage here and just cause some havoc. Kind of just how are we feeling, you know what I mean? There's a ship down here I wouldn't mind getting. Battling. We're still moving these troops over so we can go beat up Crimea. Because that is something we're definitely going to want to do. These 10,000 right here, they are black flagged. So because we ended the war here, they got black flagged and they're able to move wherever they want. I think what we're going to do is we're going to move these guys close to Byzantium in hopes of potentially doing that war against Byzantium soon, right? Because we have a good reason to go to war with Byzantium now. We're not going to start that war, of course, until hopefully we ally Poland, right? Hopefully we'll get out of this war, ally Poland, and then be well on our way. Okay, here we go, guys. This is interesting. Okay, this is a little interesting because this adds a system that we have not talked about yet. The estates, okay? We have not clicked on the estates, and the Ottomans have some fancy estates, sort of. Here we go. Here we go. This is the final tab. Someone's probably was screaming at this thing before we unpaused, right? Like, Karis, you didn't talk about the estates. It's true. But I was hoping there would be an event here. We don't have a choice here. These guys are just going to lose influence. That's fine. They're going to lose influence. But what just happened? We have the nobility. I'm going to call these guys the nobility, the clergy, and the merchants guilds. Okay? because that's if you're playing it like a Catholic nation, if you're playing like Portugal or something like that, these guys will be called the nobility. They're like the military power. They're like all focused military, military, military. The clergy is all about taxation, tithing, taxation, Catholicism. I mean, not Catholic. Well, we're Sunni, right? Just religious pursuits, religious ideology, stability, religious ideology, money. That's basically what the clergy is all about. The merchant guilds are about money too, but they're about trade and they're about diplomacy and stuff like that. The Dimi is kind of special. We do have a lot of Dimi going on here, right? We saw that we saw in the religious tab that a lot of our Orthodox provinces were being controlled by the Dimi. So the Dimi are specifically designed to take over provinces that are not of our true faith, right? So because we've assigned this stuff to the Dimi, we're actually not being penalized too harshly over here. But what we can do is we can actually do a number of different things. And I know we're in the middle of a war, but we have the game paused. We could do whatever the heck we want right now, right? We have 30 crown land. And we can see that these estates own different percentages of land. They own different percentages of land. And we can basically add privileges. We can give these different estates things. We could do a number of different things, right? We have 30% crown land. We can give more of that away. We can sell them crown land and get a bunch of money, a huge amount of money, right? But I will tell you that if you go below 30% here, bad things happen. Bad things happen. We can actually seize crown land, but we have to be at peace. But we can actually take more crown land for ourselves. Because if we ever get below 30%, we need to take some back, right? And so this is seizing it from the different estates. And then we can summon a diet. And summoning a diet will basically make it so that we have an agenda. And it'll give us a little quest to do. And we'll be able to actually butter up one of these different estates. We'll be able to help them out, get a little bit more influential, get a little bit of a loyalty boost with them. And then also sort of get a little quest that will give us some little rewards and stuff like that. So this also says that all estates will get some influence because they'll be summoned to talk about their complaints and talk about their issues. And just them summoning it before the king, right? And before the sultan will basically give them some influence. And then they'll also be able to get some loyalty. They'll be happy. They'll be happy to do that, right? So influence is like their power. Like the more influence they have, the more power that they have. So we want them to have influence so that they're because if they have a lot of influence, they have more power. These bonuses, they're giving us bonuses. The clergy is giving us national tax modifier plus 5%. The merchant guilds are giving us trade efficiency plus 5%. The manpower recovery speed, 10% from the nobility, right? If they had more influence, this would be a higher percentage. It would be 15% or it'd be 20%. If the clergy had more power, it'd be 10% or 15% or 20%, right? Huge bonus potentially. Huge bonus potentially. So giving these people more influence means those bonuses go up. If these influences, right now it's 13%, it's very low, right? 13% compared to like 100%, 0 to 100, right? 13% is really low on that spectrum of 0 to 100. Don't confuse this with the actual land that they have. They have 8% of the land, but they have 14% influence. They can gain influence without having land. There's other ways they can gain influence. But basically what's going on here is if we can get this influence up, they'll give us better bonuses, but that's only if they're happy. That's only if they're happy. Right now they're at 45%. That's good. Although the current equilibrium is 35%. So their equilibrium is actually going down. They're actually losing happiness, but the good news is they only get upset if they're below 30. As long as they're above 30, they're totally fine. So the equilibrium at 35%, no issues there. No issues there. But if they get really happy, if they get above 60%, we get extra bonuses. It won't just be national tax modifier. It'll also be national tax modifier and stability cost reduction. So we want to, ideally, you want all these people to be influential and also very happy. And you also want to make sure that you have a certain amount of crown land, because if you give too much of this away, your country starts taking some nasty penalties. So crown land, you need this to be above, it's a balancing act. It takes a while to kind of warm these up. It's not an instant gratification system. You're going to be clicking some buttons here, adding some privileges, boosting their influence, boosting their happiness, trying to manage their crown land, not give them too much crown land, and basically sort of, move from there. And it's sort of a process to kind of build a long-term equilibrium with the estates. It used to be, under the old system, this is all brand new, but I think I've actually kind of figured out how this works, which is kind of cool because at first I was like, I don't like this. This is different. But it actually kind of makes sense. It's a little bit of a build-up. There's a little bit of a warm-up before they start giving you a ton of stuff. But once you get this working, once you get this humming, it is insane. But essentially, let's start looking at some privileges. Boom. And then we could scroll down. We could see all these different clergy privileges. Again, a lot of these are related to like taxing and sort of missionary strength maybe, and administrative power, administrative taxation, religious stability. All those things are kind of all like thematically tied together in this game. And that's what the clergy are interested in. Governing capacity, we haven't really talked about that stat. We haven't really bumped into that stat. That's kind of a new system. We don't need that right now, though. We have plenty of governing capacity for the foreseeable future. We could get monthly administrative power. That's amazing. They'll just give us extra administrative power. That's huge. That'll help us get towards our technologies. Again, these are incredibly powerful things. We need diplomatic power for peace deals. We need diplomatic power for like different events that pop up. We need diplomatic power to boost our sort of mercantilism or trade capacity. We need diplomatic power to raise admirals. And then also we need to just be able to advance our technologies, our diplomatic technologies. So it's like, it's just insane how much these different things are, we've just learned, right? Those are things that we've talked about. I don't expect anyone to remember exactly what I'm talking about exactly, but I'm just saying, we know how diverse these powers are and how hard they are to get and how slowly they go up. So to be able to increase the monthly income of these things is massive, right? For administrative power, for example, is just incredible. Problem is, a very sneaky thing here, they will take 10 of our crown land. We'll go down to 20%. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. So we need to actually build up more crown land. We need to build up, we need to actually be taking from them and build up a surplus of crown land, which we can do by seizing land at peace. We can seize land. We need to build that up. And then we can start sort of slotting these things in and then take more land back and then build it up and then give out more. And so it's a process of taking, you seize land, you give land, you seize land, you give land, you seize land, you give land, and eventually you get to this system where you've kind of made an equilibrium. That also makes them kind of unhappy, which is fine. Administrative cost advisor, minus 25%. It's pretty good. We don't actually have an administrative advisor right now, right? He died. The one that we had died, but that would have been kind of neat. It gives him more influence, gives him more happiness. Heck, we might want to hit it just for those reasons alone. Monthly piety, +1. So we could just get some more piety, right? That's talking about our religious equilibrium here, right? Our piety is going into the negatives right now. We're moving towards mysticism. We're moving towards mysticism. But we kind of looked at legalism benefits and thought these looked a little bit better. Maybe we're actually trying to go mysticism. Maybe we're actually trying to go to mysticism this time because we're already kind of going that way. Maybe we kind of double down on that and get some of these bonuses like missionary strength, morale of armies, fort defense, some of these other really good things that we get there. No further modifiers. This just makes them happy and makes them have more influence. That could be worth it just to kind of like get a little bit of a bump here. We can give them monopoly on wool. I don't think we need to do that, but that does make them happy if we ever needed to make them happy, right? It does say that we're losing absolutism. This happens way later in the game. This doesn't happen until the 16th century, 17th century. It's basically the 1600s, right? 1600s, age of absolutism will fire, and this is going to matter then. We're not going to get there in this tutorial. That's literally like 30 hours of playing the game, right? Like that's a late game kind of a concept. It's like a mid-game concept, and these campaigns can go on for quite a while, right? But this is something for now. I think there will be a way to sort of remove these modifiers when we get to that point. We don't have to worry about them now. There is no absolutism now in 1446. That's a future system, so we're not really worrying about that. Morale of armies when fighting with heretics or heathens, -5 morale of armies if at peace with heretics and heathens for 15 years. We know we're about to attack Byzantium and they're Orthodox. This could be kind of interesting. It doesn't really get them any more influence, but that could give us more morale against them. That could be kind of nice. As long as we're attacking a heretic or a heathen every few years, we get extra morale. We just need to attack them once every 15 years. Are you kidding me? We started a war 2 months into the game. So yeah, I think we're going to be going to war quite a bit. Now, of course, right now we're at war. Right now, we are at war with our own true faith, the Sunnis, right? These are all Sunnis right now. But we're about to be going to war with Byzantium, so we'll get a little bit of a bonus there. So that's good. So we hit that button. And we got one. Oh, wait, we can hit another. We could just keep hitting these. So there's really, we could just keep hitting these if we like any of them. This one doesn't really do anything, but what it does is it gives them more influence. It gives them a higher influence equilibrium, okay? And I think you have to unpause for some of these influence numbers to bump up. Gives them and they have a higher loyalty equilibrium now because we've added some of these things that make them happy. You know, we could just do this because eventually we will want an administrative advisor. So I'm just hitting some buttons. Maybe we'll save a slot. We could, because we only do 4 here. Okay, so that's the clergy done. Cool. So if we look over here, we can see military power. Again, we're going to want that, but crown land. We need to be careful not to give away our crown land. See, this governing capacity one also is crown land. So we can work on that in the future. This would be a fun one. It gives us army tradition per reduced army tradition decay and general cost reduction. But we have to lose a certain amount of army tradition. So we haven't talked about army tradition. Army tradition is the metric in which determines how good your generals roll. So when we roll this general, we're only going to get 3 to 8 pips based on our army tradition. 3 to 8 pips, what the heck? Wait a second. This guy's got 10. That's because he's a historical general. This guy is better than anyone that we could roll. We could roll this 1,000 times. We would never get anyone as good as this right now because our army tradition is so low. That's why I said this guy was incredible. Because he has 10 pips. He's stronger than what our army tradition allows. So this actually, you lose army tradition up front, but long term you're able to build up a higher equilibrium of army tradition because this decays, and a negative decay actually means that you will actually stabilize at a positive value. Right now this is going down once per year. We get this by winning battles and some other things and stuff like that. But this is actually really, really good. We're trying to maintain a higher equilibrium of army tradition and eventually add that with other modifiers, and you can actually have an army tradition of 50 or 60 or 70 that just stays there late in the game, which is really cool with a lot of other sort of technologies and stuff that you can get. So we actually can't take this until we have 30 army tradition total, so we're not going to be able to take that for the foreseeable future. Oh, we know we have a manpower issue right now. Kind of, right? We have a manpower issue right now. We could do this. We could trade taxation. We could reduce a tax modifier by 9%, but we could get 36% more manpower modifier. That's incredible. Let's do that. That's really good. We could pay less for military cost advisors. That sounds good. We could just make them happy. I don't know if we need to do that because I think these guys are already pretty happy. We can give them monopolies on mining and smelting and monopolies on livestock. This will give us some money and some mercantilism and some other things. These are all really good. The thing is we don't get any income from iron or copper anymore, and we don't get any income from livestock. So I'm not really convinced if I haven't learned enough about this to know these are mostly to make them happy. I don't think we need to make them happy because I think they're already happy. They're already happy. Again, anything above 30% loyalty is happy. And then when it comes to influence, you just don't want, so you don't want this, the higher the better in terms of how powerful their benefits are, right? How powerful, we have to unpause for this to update the things that we've just pressed. But the thing is, if you get to 100%, it is bad news bears. If these get to 100%, they literally try to take over the country. So if the nobility or the clergy or the merchant guilds gets to 100%, they try to take over the country. That is very important. So you do want to manage the influence enough that they're not literally going to try to take over the country. Essentially, yearly prestige, we gain prestige instantly, but we lose tax modifier. You know what? We're so rich. Maybe we're willing to pay for a little bit of prestige. It's only a small negative. We're getting a positive modifier from the clergy anyways. We take a little bit of a tax modifier dip and we get yearly prestige and we gain some prestige. Why not? That's going to help our armies, right? Morale of armies. It's going to help our trade, which is going to tie into more economy. That's going to help our diplomatic relations and all kinds of good stuff. So, and then just having a yearly prestige is going to create that equilibrium, right? It creates an equilibrium that's higher than 0. So right now, actually, we're only losing 0.02 per year. Basically, we're at our equilibrium. Our equilibrium is like a 22. So we're not even losing prestige. We're only gaining prestige from here, basically, as we win battles and win wars and things like that. That's actually really good. I like that. Diplomatic advisor costs. We've done this. So what we are doing is we are reducing the cost to increase our stability, right? Which is not great because we can't now, to boost our stability, we have all these negative penalties. It costs more administrative power. We talked about this a little bit, right? Boosting stability with administrative power. We're now spending more to do that. Okay, we're now spending more to do that. But I think for the most part, I'm kind of greedy a little bit. I like to boost this up from events. You usually get a lot of good events that boost stability rather than paying for this to go up. And usually you're only paying for this to go up once in a blue moon. You know what I mean? So it's not very common situation there. So we can take a bunch of loans and get some minus some trade efficiency. I don't like that. We don't need loans. We can get cheap loans though at the cost of trade efficiency. This just makes them more influential. Has no effect. Power cost increased by 5%. That's military power. That's technology cost. That's not good. All this stuff up here is very, very good. This stuff down here, losing power cost is not great. Oh, this is interesting. Light ship cost reduction. Ooh. So it's cheaper to build light ships. I like that. And then also, we get more ship trade power. Yes, let's try to build a merchant fleet. I like that. I like that. So we've hit some buttons there. We're saving a slot to maybe go up more, right? And let's do the Dimi here and see what we can do with these guys. Every owned province not of Muslim faith gets higher Dimi taxes, giving the following local tax modifier. That seems really good. So we get extra taxes from non-Muslim provinces? Okay. Works for me. We have quite a few Orthodox provinces, right? +1 leader without upkeep. That's the generals, right? We already have 2 generals. We're 2 for 2. We don't really need another general, but it is good to know that we could swing in here and do that. It does reduce the loyalty equilibrium for both the nobility and the clergy, though. So it makes them a little bit less happy. It's hard. It's going to be hard. The Dimi and the clergy are at odds with each other. They are literally at odds with each other. Conscript. So we can get extra manpower from the not Muslim faith provinces. It makes them a little bit less happy, though. Their equilibrium will change a little bit in the negative here. This gives them just more influence, means that we have a little bit more tolerance of the heathens. This is actually really kind of neat. It does lower the equilibrium for the clergy, which right now is 50%. It's totally fine. It's not super high, but it's not super low. I think it's good. I think we've hit some good buttons here. Actually, what we want to do is I think we want to keep this, and let's unpause and see. It's kind of. I guess the influence did update. I think it updated when we went away and came back. There we go. There we go. So guys, we have done the estates. Now we've looked at every single tab in this entire section, except for the subjects tab, because we don't have any subjects, right? We don't have any vassals or personal unions. Like Poland has all kinds of things going on, right? They're guaranteed independence in Moldova. They have a vassal. Mazovia is a vassal, and they have a personal union over Lithuania. So Poland's already like doing all kinds of crazy diplomatic stuff, partly because of a lot of that is historical. And I think they start with Moldova. I think they start with that vassalage there. Guys, we're winning this war. It's only us. It's only Kandar's navy and the Crimean army and the Crimean navy against us right now. We're about to be getting military access through Poland so we can move into Crimea. We need to go beat up Crimea and end this war. But we've done the estates. We've clicked through the estates and done all that chaos and nonsense and stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for watching that episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Let's finish this war. Let's finish this war.